Team Australia for 2018, and I got to back RQ2. I think it's going to be them.
Well, we're here on Ilios. It's Dark-Sided up against Order, our second semi-final. AVRL and Pixie, you guys are taking us through to this one. So Pixie, who's going to win?
Youth versus beauty is what I'd call this, but I've got to give it to the youngins. I think Order take it.
It's going to be the chance for one team to move on through. As a reminder, both teams dropped out in the semi-finals of Season 1. Now, one team will move on, but the other one, unfortunately, their season ends exactly where it ended last time.
And this is indeed going to be McCree out the gate on the Ukester himself. Order as well going to be picking up a wrecking ball, so already seeing a little bit of a different thing. We're seeing a change of pace for both of these teams.
And I'm very curious to see how ATAR performs on the Fire as well. It's not one of his usual picks. A lot of people saying he doesn't quite match up to Turmo. We'll see exactly how he matches up now.
Well, I mean, 31% on the ultimate to 6%. I'd say that's matching up, but it's Signed that's really making the opening blows here. Order is starting to just eke out that positional advantage around this point, but it's Dark-Sided getting the boots on the ground.
Just doing so much damage right now. He's got the opening pick. He's now forcing Dark-Sided backwards. Gets the second pick as well. Mooney goes down.
Yeah, this is now no contest. Without Mooney, Dark-Sided with this team comp, they don't have any way to move forward onto the point. It's just got to go the way of Order.
I've got to say the flexibility coming out of Order's composition here. They have the presence into the skies. That's why ATAR's playing the Fire right now. But also, they can counter out Turmo's Fire with Sign to the Widow. And you've seen how much work Sign has been doing.
Gob taking a couple of pot shots, looking for a way in now is Dark-Sided. They do have a Valkyrie, but the window's kind of closing in terms of ultimates, because here comes ATAR with a rocket barrage straight on top of the squad. Mooney goes down, off it, traded back though, and Order, their tanks are looking the worst for wear. Still trading back and forth now. Dark-Sided though, losing Turmo. They don't have that kind of space in the air anymore. Frogger though down on the side of Order, no reses, they're on hard mode, and Dark-Sided are looking primed to pull this one back now.
Yuki's counter trades have been so good. Look how many kills he's been on. That's at least 3. Order have to give up this point. 44% though is a very good beginning. Dark-Sided, they made such great work of Yuki on the flank with a Tracer.
Now Dark-Sided, oh dear, that's bad
crazy
news. I mean, they were looking like they were going to have a good situation defensively, but that headshot on Turmo completely changes things.
Order, they're still just waiting to see how they can get in right now. Sign, he's getting a lot of damage now, but we need to see a few more kills.
This is giving them time to reset. Oh, Yuki going down. That's the other kill they sorely needed. Now, even when Turmo rejoins the fray, they're not exactly going to be up in numbers. In fact, now they're even. Molotov picked out. That's a tough pill to swallow. And now Order, again, momentum on their side. Turmo's got to try and turn it back around with this barrage, looking for the back end, looking for Sign. Maybe doesn't even need the barrage to take Sign. Dark-Sided still holding on to this point as they're starting to get the kill. Oh! That's not one you see every day. The double KO in the dogfight in Order. They're not getting onto this point for a while.
And this is the thing, the targeting has been so specific by Dark-Sided. You see now, Turmo is going after Sign. He knows that Sign is his biggest threat right now. If Sign is on the field with Widowmaker, Turmo can't get the job done. Goes even with ATAR in the skies, but look on the ground, Dark-Sided win the ground fight.
Man, this is such an intense battle between these two Pharaohs, and that's to say nothing of the rest. The Rockets, unfortunately, not finding their mark unless they're being shot off by Punk. ATAR as well. No luck, finds himself exposed. Turmo takes advantage. And now Turmo looking to just wreak havoc in the back line of Order again. No way to get forward onto the point. Dark-Sided have kept such a lid on Order.
The area control from Dark-Sided is what you need to look at right now, because for Order to succeed, Sign needs space to work with. He needs angles, he needs sight lines, but continuously, Dark-Sided are pushing Order backwards. Sign is in the sight lines of Turmo. He's getting free rockets on top of this Widowmaker. That's not what's supposed to happen if you're on Order right now, and they need to take control back.
Punk going up with the self-destruct, making a bit of space for the team to play with. Adam's in trouble on the front line, and ATAR did indeed get caught by that self-destruct. Now Adam going down, and already Dark-Sided, big advantage coming into the closing fight here. In fact, no boots on the ground for Order. First map going to go the way of Dark-Sided.
We're starting to see where the advantages for Dark-Sided do come in. This very opening map now, or I should probably say, round on Elias. Very, very good on wall, because you have the Fire versus Fire into the sky. One thing that has been identified, a lot of teams have looked at Order and said, this is a team that doesn't bring Fire onto the table. And if they try to, well, it doesn't go well for them. ATAR shut down multiple times, and that's not to say he actually had Sign to the Widow as backup. You'd expect Turmo to be shut down way more. Wasn't the case.
That's the thing, does it say more about ATAR or does it say more about Turmo? Because I'd like to say the latter there. I mean, Genome picked it out, but really that was a difference maker for Well. But now on Ruins, this is a completely different beast. I'm wondering how this is going to play out.
It's not Widowmakers either. So no team wants to be playing that kind of strategy. You do see Turmo coming out on the Sombra this time around. I'm very curious to see how Mooney performs onto this Wrecking Ball.
This is going to be the real shake-up. Order sticking with it's sort of a, yeah, you'd call it goats. It hasn't quite got the Zarya in there, but I'm liking what they're running here. However, Darksided should be able to disrupt it pretty well.
This is where Mooney on the Wrecking Ball pick actually does a great job. He can do that disruption like you described in there. Terminal the hacks as well. Here comes that Wrecking Ball.
Right on in, draw the goats comp in and slam down right on top of them. But as the brawl goes on longer, if Order don't get dispatched off, those ultimates will become a big problem for Darksided. Now trying to jostle them around. Another pop up with the pile driver, but Mooney, that's the hook doing work out of signs, keeping him locked down with all the stuns, and suddenly it starts to slip the way of Order. There's a good dive around the backside, but losing Turmo means that flank pressure has kind of been alleviated. Now it's only Yuki, but he hasn't got a team to fall back to. Indeed, Darksided as a whole are going to need to fall away from this point.
And this is why Turmo's not going to go into the fire. Instead, you need that AoE damage on Darksided. The damage was very good. Mooney, by the way, he's not sitting just on 26%. He's actually already used the minefield, but unfortunately, Order are not dying. They need to get rid of some of the healing on the Order side, focus the supports.
And it's harder now with the rally out from Atar on the Brigida. It's just extra health. And that means that Turmo, he's going to have to spend a lot of time up here, chipping away at that health until they can really get an opening. They need to not get too all in. But with the Coalescence, there's a window, and they completely maximize on it. The slightest opening, and they go. Order now, those ultimates they'd banked up, not going to help them. In fact, they need to not give away too much ultimate charge back to Darksided, who are now looking to be well ahead in the fight. Should be able to cap this point over. Order trying to find an avenue to turn around in, but not going to be able to get back on this in any realistic way.
This is a big issue for Order because they actually had ultimate advantage. Look at this, they're sitting on 5, they were sitting on 4. Darkseid, they freshly changed Turmo onto a fire. He's now at 90% because Order stayed on the cap for so long. They gave away a lot of ult charge to Darkseid, who are now ready to hold.
So it's going to be a little bit tough, though, on the hold when you just see how many lights are up on the side of Order. Still got a little bit of armor in the back pocket as well. Turmo's going to have to get a lot of work done here. They do almost have the tools on rotation, but the Coalescence straight up from Unto. Pulse Bomb connects with Atar. Turmo, though, exposed in the skies. Means no rocket barrage left for Darksided. It's just the few remaining members that are going to have to brawl it out in Order. Then the Earth Shatter rounds. Mooney's out of the picture, and that's going to be the one that finally seals it. It wasn't any of those other ultimates. It wasn't the pick onto Turmo. The Earth Shatter secures it. Turmo, though, trying to turn it back around. Finally able to rejoin the fight, and I think they've been able to do it. Yuki with the follow-up on Gov, and suddenly Order, looking like they were on the cusp of capping, are completely rebuffed.
And this is the thing, it's not just a numbers game. Order came back in with 5 ultimates. They used all 5 ultimates, but Darksided had such better value. Yuki got in there, Pulse Bomb kill straight away, converts on a second kill. Turmo does go down. You'd expect if Turmo actually lived to start with that rocket barrage, Darksided win even heavier. Kanta's got the resurrection in, Turmo immediately cleans up Order, and now Order have to completely reset, new composition.
Yeah, I mean, it's smart by Order, but this is really the last available opportunity they had to do it in, and Under's already down. This is tough. They do trade one over with Molotov, their own flankers, getting a lot of work done, but now Turmo and Atar stuck in that same mano-a-mano situation.
This is it. This could be the last fight here. Darkseid is sitting over 80% right now in Order. They just haven't got enough. God,
there we go.
Too.
That's got to be it, right? And Frogger as well. Again, Order just not making the inroads. They're still not quite coming up on ultimates, and they are fast running out of time.
It's an awkward time to go for a full reset in composition. 95%. Where are the Order members?
Someone get on the point. It does look like they got signed in the mix just to be able to buy the overtime, but now they've actually got to take a fight. They've got to dive in, follow up, get something going. Sign's already down. Adam's not going to get back in that mech, and no one's dead on Darksided. They're at the point on lockdown. 2-0 for Ilios. Darksided starting the series in style.
They may have been doubted at some point. Look, I even thought, look, Order looked like the stronger team in various ways, but look, Darkseid as well, the veterancy coming in so strong. They knew the weaknesses of Order, and they have exploited them.
That was just joyous, truly. The moment the map was picked, we said Darksided, they're doing it for a reason. Well, that was the reason. How to Order respond?
Well, gentlemen, Darksided bringing out the goods to kick this one off. Genome, that's a bit of a surprise. I thought maybe Order were going to bring it back there, but Darksided really coming in pile driver time and time again. The Wrecking Ball just too strong. Darksided just too strong there on Ilios.
Yeah, there was some interesting comps coming out of Order, and we talked about before RQT giving them leadership, but the one thing he can't do is do that during the map. In the game, the coach can't talk to the players. This is 6 players on the team, okay? Not 7. He can get there in between maps, but if they're making compositional errors and not recognizing it during the game, he can't help them.
AVRL, what are the key things here sticking out to you? Well, you got to watch all of that as you cast it. There's some points that you have to go, oh, that's a bit odd.
I think for Order, they're still kind of figuring out how they want to approach Ilios. Now, Ilios is a very good map for Darkside. A couple of the reasons there came down to the fact that Farah is a very big pick there. I'm a little bit surprised we didn't see a little bit more out of Sign of the Widowmaker. He had such a huge impact onto Well, but there was at a point when Order started to lose control at this point. Darkside pressuring Sign right out of the map, and Termo even specifically targeting Sign as the Farah player against the Widowmaker player. Then when Termo goes into Farah onto Ruins, you don't see Sign reappear on the Widowmaker to challenge him.
What are your key points here, Pixie?
Well, I think the thing that stuck out to me was Darksiders were able to adapt and evolve to whatever was working for Order, and they were doing it without actually having to really make compositional changes. Order were the ones that were always on the back foot. The moment they got figured out, they were never getting a leg back up, even when they were making some compositional changes of their own.
I guess for us, right, when we speak about this team, Genome, we say that the team from Order are very mechanically gifted. They're young, but they know how to play. For me, watching this, do they look nervous to you, or are they just being outplayed at the moment?
No, I don't think it's nervous. The heroes that they were on, I think they were, executing as they should. I just think it was the wrong heroes. I mean, in those replays we saw just then, Gob is on the Wrecking Ball. Why is he on the Wrecking Ball? The opposition team doesn't have a sniper for him to jump on top of. They've got a Farah and a Tracer, not easy heroes for the Wrecking Ball to deal with. In that sort of situation, I think you're better off going with the Winston.
Do you concur for that one, AVRL? Are you feeling the same sort of thing here?
I think it's a very playstyle kind of heavy thing as well. You also want to play the Wrecking Ball into a tank-heavy composition on the other side. I think there's some value there. I also don't think Gob's been playing that much Wrecking Ball, all things considered. I think Mooney has been a bit surprising there. We weren't too sure what his confidence level on that hero was going to be, and I think he's actually done a pretty good job. Mostly for me, on the Order side of things, it's timing issues. There was that one particular fight onto Well. They had about 4 ultimates, and they didn't get to use a single one. They lost that fight, came back the next fight, had 5 ultimates, used everything, and did not win.
Well, we talked about maps and how getting to pick a map can be very, very important. Darksiders picked Ilios. They won Ilios. Now, or to get to pick a map, let's see what it's going to be. Throwing out King's Row. Any surprises here, Pixie?
Not particularly. King's Row is a bit of an old favorite, really, of every team everywhere ever, and it's been, I think, a bit refreshing for some of these teams having it in the pool. Eichenwalder is the one where teams maybe have something a little bit more special prepared, and even then, not always. I feel like this is just Order. They're going to reset. They're going to go, let's play normal Overwatch, no Ilios, no curveballs. Let's stick to our guns.
Your thoughts, Genome?
I think if they keep seeing Termo on the Farah, I really want to see Signed on the Widow. But just by that first map, he seems to have his eye in, right? And that is the natural counter. So I want to see that. The Reinhardt composition, they wanted to bring it out on Ruins. That's interesting.
If you're going to bring it out there, surely you get to use it on King's Row, right?
So that's, I feel like this pick for Order is probably a good one. Seeing as the Ruins composition makes you think they are definitely leaning towards those Reinhardt compositions.
Well, we were on Control. We move across to Hybrid. Let's have a recap on how the Hybrid game mode works.
This is Hybrid. 2 teams face off as either defenders or attackers. The attacking team has a limited amount of time to first capture a payload and then escort it along a set path containing 2 checkpoints. To capture the payload, the attackers need to stand within its range for a set amount of time. Defenders can delay capture progress by also standing in range. The attackers must work together to clear away the defenders. If successful, they score 1 point and gain additional time on the clock. The payload only moves forward when an attacker stands near it. Defenders can delay the payload's movement by standing nearby. To get moving again, the attackers must clear away the defenders by force. If even one attacker is capturing the objective or on the payload when the time runs out, the game enters overtime. This extends play indefinitely until the attackers are either cleared away or they gain more time by reaching a checkpoint. Every time the payload reaches a checkpoint, the attackers score 1 point and gain additional time on the clock. The round ends when the payload reaches the destination or when time runs out. Teams switch sides each round. Whichever team scores the most points and escorts the payload farthest wins.
Well, we're heading over to Kings Row in just a second now. Genome, before when we were talking about scores and what we thought results would be, we heard a lot of 3-2s. Is this the situation where the team that picks the map gets to win their map pick?
I think it definitely might be. This could be a back and forth series, and I think we might be going to 1-1 here with Order coming out ahead.
What do you think, AVRL?
I think this is a very good opportunity for Order, and specifically I want to see how ATAR gets enabled here because he was shut down very heavily in map number 1. I think this is his map to shine.
Pixie, is this the time that we bring it back to 1-1 and we get this semi-final that we truly deserve?
Yeah, I've got to echo that sentiment right all across the board. I think this is where it goes back the way of Order. We get the 1-1, we have a series on our hands.
Now, is there anything here, Genome, that you felt has been odd so far? Any picks, anything out of character, anything you want to talk about?
Yeah, I think, talking about enabling, right?
Okay.
I think Mooney has been enabled by Punk. I mean, we saw them lose the first point on Ruins there, and I believe that was because Gob, and we saw this in the quarterfinals, it's definitely something I noticed, he's playing Wrecking Ball a little too much like Winston at the moment, okay? He's attacking from the front
Well,
line.
they're both animals,
rather
right?
than
Does that count?
flanking. Not
No, okay.
really. Yeah, so as a result, Punk, I think, is carrying this guy. I mean, he's got the Matrix. He's just such a fantastic D.Va player. We see him picking up kills, always being in the right position at the right time. And I think at the moment, that's making up for Mooney's deficiencies somewhat.
Well, it's our second semi-final. Darksided up against Order. Darksided are 1-0 up, and we are into Kings Row. Pixie and AVRL, gentlemen, take it away.
I do love me some Kings Row. Thank you very much, Ben. We'll see you on the other side of this one. And, well, it's one of those situations, right? Either we have a 2-0 up or at match point, or we're at that 1-1 and we get that series, like Ben said, that we deserve.
And I think momentum here is another conversation that we have to have because Sydney Drop Bears, after they got a 2-0, and they had to replay map to get that 2-0, but the scoreline still the same. They got that 3-0 completion. Very important now for Order to get their map win as well. And to be quite honest with you, Pixie, I'm still on the fence. I did say Order looked like the better team in terms of preparation, but there's another half to that story. In terms of preparation, you also then have to execute on the day. And based on map 1, Darksided are executing better.
And we've got to consider that one other factor. Darksided want that rematch against Drop Bears. It could just be that when all is said and done, Darksided want it more.
I'm really looking forward to Termo versus Signed right now. Termo's been playing a lot of Widowmaker, but Signed, he's the OG in here, man. He's the one that really brings these kills in.
Yeah, this is going to be the real head-to-head. We saw Termo v ATAR on the Pharaohs earlier. Now we get to see it with Signed on the Widowmakers, and already it's Signed actually starting to outstrip that one. See if they actually manage to get any picks here right now. Just Darksided entrenched on the defense.
That's the thing about the defense is you have to look at where Darksided are positioned. They're being forced backwards. Now Order should start really attacking this point, force Darksided onto the ground.
Yeah, speaking of on the ground, Mooney is a little isolated there. It is the way it tends to fall, but slowly Order are going to be able to make some opportunities for themselves. You see ATAR looking to wrap around the backside.
The setup here is very important. Oh, ATAR's already got himself target.
That's what he wants. He's at least dislodged Termo. This disrupts Darksided's positioning, creates opportunities up the front. You see Gob now going to the high ground, but that one doesn't pay off. It's reacted too well. The spam damage out of Yuki chucks him down. Now Order a little bit undermanned, trying to scrap this out on the point, and it's only a matter of time before Darksided can really start to react and bring their full force on the point.
Well, 1 minute's already off the clock right now, and Order spent a decent amount of time already setting up, but they need to be able to actually attack after the setup, and Infrasight's available for Signed. He's got to use that straight away. Need to start getting some picks out of his Widowmaker.
That's the thing. I mean, he did lead Termo with the ult charge. He's had more damage out there, but ultimately, without getting the picks, you're not getting that advantage numerically that you need. It's got to be the blade, surely, if nothing else.
The timing here is important. Molotov's on 91% for the Transcendence. ATAR has to find opportunity. He's got to do it now.
Mooney's low, but he does not quite go down. Now ATAR's probably too low to commit a blade. Plus, with Unter getting shot in the head there, getting that Mondada feel here on Kings Row. Order, they're just not having their day right now. Darksided are too dug in.
A minute ago, we said this was Order's opportunity to finally attack, and Adam's going to get himself Staggered as well. It's just more time off the clock, unfortunately, for Order. Look at Darkseid, the ultimate's really coming to effect right now. There's so many weapons here. Transcendence versus the Dragon Blade from AVRL. Also, you then have Yuki on to the Riptide. That's going to be absolutely deadly. Order don't have any good counters.
That's the thing, these really big, high-impact ultimates are still in the pocket at Darkseid, and Order, they got less than half their total time left now, still making compositional changes, still trying to find a way in.
I think they're kind of looking for Sign to get a hack here. They're just still waiting. They're finding the right opportunities.
Messiah, it's going to be a little bit tough now. That was maybe someone he would want to hack, stop the tie from happening. Instead, it's going to be absorbed by Adam. He's a long way from being able to remake, and again, AVRL chunked out, not going to be able to get the blade on the backline. Darkseid are just sniffing out those flanks too well. God being low here. Order are trying to retreat here. If they get staggered, this is going to be brutal.
That's the thing, Adam has to attempt to remake, but it's so difficult. It's more ultimates available for Darkseid.
Oh.
This is just going to be a very big cleanup. Now, Yuki already 23% back into action. AVRL's been sitting on Blade for so long, and I have to look at Molotov because he has the counter there, but Order are not able to force the Transcendence out. That means eventually when AVRL does use the Blade, he's not going to be very effective.
Unless they are able to maybe get a quick pick on Molotov, or AVRL's just got to turn his attention elsewhere, which is kind of less than ideal. Molotov coming to be a bit of a hero there. Now they're just going to have to go in the front side. Finally, it pays off for them. They at least close out a Mooney this time.
Two tanks.
There we go. That's the opening straight onto the back line now. And AVRL might not even need that Dragon Blade. Never mind Molotov's Transcendence, which, by the way, he isn't even going to get a chance to use. Order have finally cracked it open here. Man, it took them a long time. I was starting to sweat. I don't know about you, but the payload will get underway.
Darkseid there being very disciplined. The reason Molotov doesn't use the Transcendence, he is still waiting to counter out AVRL. They knew the point was lost anyway. They lost too many members. Cantus going down, probably being the one that really puts the nail into the coffin, and Order finally get this cap over. The damage is, however, done. Darkseid has got so much time off the clock. Order are still very strapped.
Bit of an interesting situation. Darkseid are choosing to go for an early contest here, and they've changed the composition to suit. Molotov stuck on the Zenyatta instead of going full goats for that Transcendence, which has now run out. AVRL's got something stunned up by Yuki. Perfection out of the man himself. Order now not having the momentum they were looking for with the payload getting underway. This is great for Darkseid. Even if they eventually get dislodged from this position, they're just wasting Order's time.
Man, this is starting to really look like Yuki seasons. There were some doubts. How good is he going to be back onto land? This man used to be one of the best land plays, and so far, he's been making absolutely massive plays, completely blowing Order out.
Order themselves having to make some change-ups. AVRL back onto the Farah. Doesn't get contested this time around by a Widowmaker. As the wrap around, Signs found him on the back line. Yuki the first casualty, and they get the mech. This is what Order really needs. Being as tight for time as they are, they need quick, low economy, high efficiency fights like this.
Still ultimates available for Order as well. Ooh. God, man, he's doing some damage now. Michael ready to play. Order finally getting a little bit of distance. I got to go back to the notion of time. 1 minute 20 remaining, which gives Darkseid more opportunities to still make a defense count. Order is still at risk of not completing this map if they can't get some momentum.
And that's the thing, momentum being the key words. They have to leverage what little they've got to get it over the line here. Darkseid have the favorable position in terms of the geography of the map, the closeness of the spawn.
Do have to be somewhat concerned because there's no EMP available. Here comes that dive though. Darkseid.
Oh dear. Oh, but traded back. Adam finds one in return, and the res on AVRL. This is now a flat numerical advantage. The Darkseid of the grab is looking decent, but doesn't quite get a big closeout. It's Mooney going right into the thick of it, and now without those ultimates, without those tanks, it's just Signed and Frogger kind of staying in a scrap with these last remnants of Darkseid. The payload's not moving here, though. This is just Order wasting their own time.
And Order will get fully reset here. It's very unlikely that Signs gets away with his own life.
Oh!
He's going to take down Yuki, though, which is a decent pick.
And he nearly got out as well. By the time he's down, the rest of the team is back. It's a 5 versus 5. Gob into the thick of it on the back line, but Coalescence to answer out from Molotov. There's the barrage. Oh, not quite getting the connection. Nearly had Mooney, but he ducks for cover in the nick of time. Now Order, with the rest of their ultimates, have to again find a way in. Mooney looking for a shatter.
No shatter.
He's down. Signs on his way back in with an EMP that can cancel out the sound barrier. Or the damage could do it too. Straight on top of these members. No shields to come out of Turbo anymore. Trying to drill the man down. They res God, get him back into the fray. Now the payload on the cusp of being capped. Order still looking for the final few kills in the fight. Punk will not get back in the mech, but neither will Adam. But there's the ones they're after. The EMP in response from Yuki. Mooney! Where did that come from, buddy? And they're gonna do it. They're gonna stop Order up short, right on the cusp of capping. Where was that?
He's been saving it in the back pocket. It's time to bring it out when it exactly matters. Darksided complete the hold onto B, and look, the work was done early on. You got to go back to the A defense. 3 minutes and more was taken off the clock. Darksided did such a great job of that defense. It didn't even matter at that point. That Order had camped down A. They knew they were going to get that defense. They came in so confidently on that next fight, dived directly onto the cart. Order were not even allowed to get to the archway.
Man, this is a dicey situation. We were talking about Order having their chance to pull it back here, but I'll be honest, this is looking even more slippery than Ilios. And by slippery, I mean slip sliding out of their grasp, struggling to cap point A, getting slowed up so much on B, not quite making that cap as well. This is backs against the wall now.
I think the timing again for Order is just a little bit awkward because they had Sign go down rather late. He had an EMP coming up 97%, gets back into the fight, but Mooney is back in as well. Guess whose ultimate came down bigger? It was, of course, Mooney.
Now it's all on the defense. Maybe Order can pull out a similar thing. Maybe they can bleed down the clock from Darksided, find somewhere to fully hold them out. But I'll be honest, this is tough. This is not the situation Order wanted to be in when they picked King's Row.
And Order need a great defensive time on A as well. It's not actually full holding A that would be ideal for that defense, but again, go back to Darksided defense. 3 minutes off the clock. Order needs something comparable to that. If we get to B, and there's too much time remaining for Darksided, that is too many attempts that Darksided are allowed to make to get that point capture.
Order really having their work cut out for them. And if they can't do it here, then it's backs against the wall in earnest. It's match point for Darksided. Order, if they're going to come alive anywhere, man, it's got to come soon.
This is the bunker defense from Order. As always saw the same thing from Darksided. Play around the Orisa. The shielding from that, along with the damage from Ato on the Junkrat, is how Order want to defend this, but positioning is important. If Order get knocked off the high ground too early, it could be disastrous.
Turmo going to be out on the Widowmaker. Just trying to keep the pressure on. If Unter lets his
Yuki's on a flank.
robotic head, yeah, never mind. Unter
oh, Yuki's on a flank!
Yuki, my goodness! The man is back once again. Gob finally shuts him down, but not until after Order have hemorrhaged members. Getting the resin on Yuki as well means all that hard work is for naught. Darksided gonna absolutely storm this point.
That's 4 kills! Yuki just got 4 kills out of nowhere. Cast your minds back, Atar tried to do the exact same thing. He went through the window, instantly shut down. Yuki, completely different story.
Oh, Unter, he needs to get out of there. They're trying to find the picks. They're trying to just force Darksided back. Maybe even get a few stagger kills. Order, man, they need to get back in this. They need to beat back the tide. Finally getting Yuki once again, overstaying his welcome that time around. Now Order are going to be able to move towards the payload and start contending.
That is a super important kill for Order because it takes the blade off the table. Now they get the push back onto the cart. Mooney goes down.
This is a stagger. This is where this can begin. With that 100 charge drilling down the mech of Pug, he is going to be able to fly out of there. But Order have the possession of the payload now. Darksided have to fight just to get it back.
It's danger zone. Sign is close to that grab, and Yuki has got that blade from earlier. Turmo now at the far as well. It's going to be backed up by the Valkyrie from Kansas. Expect big damage unless Atar gets that shield bash onto Yuki, just like Yuki did to him.
They need that grab. They need that coalescence. Order are in a real tough spot. Straight in though, before those ultimates were available, but not getting anything. Finally the grab in the nick of time, and off the back of it, they absolutely destroy Darksided, who barely got any movement on that payload. Now Order are starting to come alive.
And they need to be able to win as many of these fights as possible. Note that we're still in this kind of archway area. The cart is in control of Order right now. 4 minutes and 25 seconds remaining. Order need to win 4, 5, maybe even 6 fights in a row if they can finish this defense.
But I tell you what, that's how you do it. You get those high efficiency fights. One ultimate, one fight win, and you cycle into all the rest. Now, looking to keep up with the next one. Adam's already found Turmo, who was coming up on a rocket barrage. They do res, but it wastes some time. Mooney's trying to get in the back line now, looking to drop out of minefield. Where's the response going to be from Order? Mooney's gone in way too deep now. He's on the run. He's going to have to try wrap back around, get to his team. He's got his eyes on Unter, running that coalescence down. Minefield out. dives on down. Upton is done. Order with the sound barrier trying to live through this barrage.
Oh,
Frogger finds him. God gets on the back line as well. And Order, they're keeping the momentum going. They are fighting back. They push Darksided again back into spawn.
And Order got their ultimates out there. Aita, Unter, and Frogger. It's triple support, triple tanks. If the supports are doing their jobs, well, the tanks aren't dying. You saw how much stock Darksided put into that fight. So many ultimates they themselves used could not break through the healing of Order.
Oh boy. The only difference is Order are only going to be coming up on a grab this time around. That being said, Darksided making some compositional
They've
change.
won with it before.
Oh, the double freight train. But there's the grab. They've got to get behind that shield. Yuki's low. They've got it all at once. Gob with one fell swing of the hammer drops the lot of Darksided.
I'll tell you what, that Graviton Surge is worth a lot when the other team has nothing in response, not a single ultimate from Darksided. And you got to look at that original fight when Sign swapped on to the Zarya. Order went in. This very aggressive defensive push. One grab wins them that fight. Now they get to rotate into the Earth Shadow for Gob as well.
Same thing again, and it was so fast, Darksided didn't even get to charge ultimates. They've just got to accept a loss of this fight, unless they get some miracle picks.
The coalescence from Molly right now. Still waiting for the Earth Shadow from Gob. There it is.
Self-destruct up as well. Anyone still on their back when that lands down is in trouble. Trades though. Double Brigida's down. Order losing some health here. Unter! Oh no! That's disaster! They needed that coalescence so badly. Darksided though, they've finally cracked this one. They've finally got themselves back on that payload. For how quickly they got it under control on point A, it took them so long just to get it moving through the streets.
And now that you can see that fight win for Darksided is important. We now get to rotate into more tank ultimates. Turmo nearing that Graviton Surge. I don't need to explain how important that ultimate is. Cantus nearly onto the sound barrier as well. Order may only have one more chance to defend.
Gob's got to land an excellent Earth Shatter here. They've got some tools in the pocket. They've got
Hunter's got to live.
coalescence. Yeah, geez, wow. Order, they're looking to take the fight to Darksided. They know that their payload can't afford to get too far. Now Darksided, they got the tools.
Oh!
And the grab! It's too late on! They're on their backs. They are hemorrhaging hell. Order trying to rescue it with a rally, and they've done it. They've saved it. The coalescence. Gob's got one back, and now Sides coming up on that grab. He's looking for an angle, but he might not even need it. No, there we go. Committed to the back line. The coalescence keeping them alive as it rakes across out from Molotov. Now Gob, there's the Earth Shatter, looking to get the last few members. Punk's on his back. He's done. He's
Yeah, they got it.
He's gone. They've managed to get it. Man, they couldn't have held that any later. And now, just 1 minute left for Darksided.
And that's all the bonus time that Darksided, after getting such a quick A cap, now don't have to use. It's 1 minute. Anything can happen right now. Order can make this whole completion. Darksided could still win, but now it's in Order's field. They can control the card. That is so important.
Man, what a combo. The Earth Shatter and the grab just shrugged off by Order. Now neither team really looking great in terms of the tools at their disposal. It's just going to be a straight out now brawl. Self-destruct forward, doesn't get anything. Sound barrier out, doesn't rescue Atar. That's trouble. But Thomas down, Mooney too. Oh God, you're on fire. Now 90% on that Earth Shatter, but again, he might not need it. But the charge up is huge. Darksided, they're out of time.
This is that final push for Darksided right now. 23 seconds remaining. Not a lot else to work with, none so far. Maybe we get Turmo's grab. Maybe we get Mooney on the Shatter as well. But look, Simon and Gob, they're ready to go. Under an 8, they're nearly there as well. You gotta think this is fully defendable now for Order.
Remember Mooney's Earth Shatter on the defense. Now it gets to be Gob's turn. Can he measure up? Can he connect? Can he complete this miracle defense? Order finally looking like they're here to play. All the tools in the pocket. They need only deploy them. There's the move in, the grab out. Gob's down, he's on his back. He's dead. Sight in the response. They're all on the grab, but no one's down. Order, they've got the closest spawn if they can stay alive. But Frogger, no such luck. The rally's already gone out. Molotov's down. That's the only trade back they've got, but it's something. They've got to keep these members alive. Unter, he's got to stay in it. Adam's found Mooney. They're losing the tanks. Gob can re-enter now. Adam as well with that self-destruct. They're coming up on these tools, and it's going to be Darksided trying to dive for it. Self-destruct up. Doesn't quite get the connection. The Punk was needed. There's the Shatter. He doesn't quite get the connection, but he's disrupted them. Yuki's in trouble. He's down. It's just Punk and Molotov. And Molotov on the Doomfist tells me that Darksided are in panic mode as Order destroy them. Oh, God! He doesn't need an Earth Shatter. He just needs that left click. And Darksided, they didn't get it. It's 1-1.
Insane defense from Order. What was that?
Oh, wow.
Coming from nowhere. 4 kills in a row. The Shatter comes through. He died so early. You thought, this is done. Order can't defend this. It's impossible.
What was that, Ben, about the semi-final that was promised?
Thank you. Finally, we have what we deserve. I waited so long to get to this point, and I thought, to be perfectly honest, that Order had left it just that little bit too late, considering how quickly Darksided took point A. But under time and time again, with that Coalescence throwing it out, keeping everyone alive. We saw the Earth Shatter, we saw the Graviton Surge, and Genome, it was only Unter sitting back, keeping them all alive, that got them through.
Epic plays there with the Coalescence. I mean, the teams were so closely matched there at the end. It was amazing. I mean, I feel just Darksided, there was wastes of resources at times, and I think that really came back to hurt them at the end. At one point when they were trying to crack through that arch, they used the minefield and the barrage to almost no effect, and you can't just throw out 2 ultimates like that and get nothing with it.
Gents, they had so much time to work with as well. The fact that Yuki managed to get the Dragon Blade available within, like, what, 50 seconds pushing onto the point, it was an incredible amount of time. They had almost 5 minutes, Pixie, to work with, trying to push through there in the end.
I mean, look, we complimented Yuki, and I think rightfully so, when they made their defense happen. But, I mean, Order, that's just all the bits coming together. This is what we talk about when we say the difference a coach makes. This is the point at which last season, these guys got rattled. This is a new team. They are young, but mentally they have the wisdom of 1,000 series.
AVRL, it seemed to me like maybe they took a little bit too long there to get going. I honestly thought that Order were not going to be able to bring it back, but now they've won this game. That is such a huge morale boost.
I think the resilience from Order is what you got to be able to really compliment here, because they lost that fight so quickly. Talk about Yuki, he did such a great job on that opening attack onto A, but Order's response, look, they came back through, changed compositions. Guess who they killed first? It was Yuki. Losing Yuki at that point was such a critical loss for Darksided, because they needed that blade to be active for the next fight. Then Order, they get to snowball the next couple of fights. They get set up on that defense. So difficult for Darksided to break through.
What are your major takeaways from this game now that we're at 1 apiece, Genome?
I mean, we've had some cold mornings here in Melbourne recently.
Yes.
So, you know, Order, they've got the key in the ignition. It's the engine's not quite starting, but all of a sudden in map 2, we've got them going, and now I feel like we're going to be able to take this series all the way.
And of course, the crowd, you can hear them getting behind them. They want this to be close. And every step that Order got that little bit closer, AVRL, you could hear them amp up, and Order really lifted.
And I gotta say, Order, they started to believe just that much more as well. They were at such a deficit, such a difficult place to come back from, but they made it work against all odds, I have to say.
Look, for me, I don't even know what to take away from this, Pixie. When we go back and we look how close Darksided were, let's go back to map number 1. We're on Ilios, right? Really, 2-0, pretty quick steamroll. We come through, they don't pick the map, but they play very well on attack. Comes to their turn on defense, they smash through. How are you feeling right now, the fact that they've thrown this away?
Well, that's the thing, right? I think the real significance of this is how it changes the momentum, right? When you go from that deficit-like position, the map down, not getting that B cap when you Order, not just to then have a decent defense, but to completely flip it back around from that far back. That's such a shift in momentum. It's going to be tough for Darksided to not get rattled on it. That right there could just be the defining game of this series.
Genome, do you agree with that? Do you think that this is the turning point?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't go that far. Actually.
Okay,
I'm
all right.
agreeing with you a little bit quickly.
It's a full best of 5.
It's a turning point. I think if you say the turning point, that's, you know, they're going to come back. They're going to sweep it immediately. I wouldn't say that. But I do think that now Order are on board. They're here to play, and we will hopefully get that 5-map series.
I'm very, very keen for it. I think right now everyone's probably thinking we're going towards the same sort of thing. AVRL, we talked about this before, but now, assuming you're Darksided, we talked about how important these coaches are. What is their coach saying to them after that result?
I don't think they need to put too much stock in that loss on Kings Row, right? They had a fantastic Ilios map. That was a blowout in their favor. 2-0, ATAR completely shut down. Termo running loose. That was a huge map win for them. Kings Row, very winnable. They had the advantage. Basically the entire game, lost it right at the end when it counted, but now going into map 3, I think they can still feel very confident that they can bring it back. Order, though, on the other side, I think this is a map win that they needed, and they should be feeling good too.
Pixie, any final thoughts from you before we throw to break?
I like you said, man, the series that we were promised, the series that we deserved, it's finally here, it's in front of us, it's on our plates. I think it does go the full 5. Theoretically, it can go to a 6 if we tie up Assault, but man, I want someone to be at match point after the next game. I want that pressure to be right on these guys. I think that is when we're truly going to see who's who.
Well, the pressure is certainly coming. It's been an epic day so far. Right now, Darksided up against Order.